There tends sometimes in international finance and international affairs to almost hold the government as victims of what other players do to influence the economics of the country. Many people point their fingers towards the fact that China has been lending money unsustainably to Sri Lanka, but I think the fault in this situation lies solely on the lapse of the government for continual mismanagement compounded over the last 10 years and populist policies by the Sri Lankan government to get the people on their side. But this unsustainable policies, whether it be low tax revenue and high government expenditure, whether it be tax cuts, whether it be a continued excessive money printing, the war in Ukraine is a factor, but I think there would be a crisis even without the war in Ukraine. The COVID-19 has hit the economy because tourism has been cut, but not only tourism, but day-to-day business activities within Sri Lanka have been curtailed. And all of these compounded together has led in the last few days of the storming of both the presidential palace and the prime minister's residence, because the people themselves are frustrated, they're fed up, and this is where political risk comes into a country. And the only way to really solve this is by a change of government, because the people won't be satisfied until that happens, and then rearranging or reorganizing the debt structures which are facing Sri Lanka will be the first place to look at primarily.
A short while ago, you mentioned that there has to be a change in the type of government. Can you explain to me what does Sri Lanka need exactly to get out of its financial crisis and to pay back its debts and also to get back to the right track, at least to give and guarantee the basic needs of its citizens?
Well, I think the first thing that needs to be done is to not have a mentality which victimizes the government, because I am a big believer, and my company is a big believer, in individual responsibility, whether you're a business, whether you're an individual, or whether you're a government, to manage your finances in the best way possible and not to go for easy money over time. There's a reason as to why Western institutions have other considerations when loaning out money to governments. And these are required because this is what builds strong fundamental institutions in a country. Now, if a government decides to go for the easy path and borrow money from creditors, which don't have as high of a threshold of terms and conditions, then that government is going to incur excessive debts. Compound that with mismanagement of public finances and corruption over time, you have a very bad situation no matter what country you are. Now, if you want to fix the situation, firstly, you need to have a change of government, which means a change of mentality from the top. Now, if let's say we have a new government in Sri Lanka over the next month or so, if I were advising the government, I would focus on three main things. Firstly, I would focus on restructuring debts from not only China, but Japan, which is in fact the largest creditor of Sri Lanka, and also the Asia Development Bank. That's number one. I would also look at creating more robust COVID policies, which would encourage tourism to also grow to pre-pandemic levels and have a big push on that end. And three, I would also look at increasing exports from the country and also the diversification of exports, which means also changing its protectionist policies, which has hindered exports and imports into the country. So lowering the trade deficit, focusing on restructuring debt, and redeveloping more robust COVID policies, which will increase tourism into the country, would be my first 3/4 priorities.